Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're joining me today, this is Brother Bleak and I talk about folklore, horror stories, ghost stories, alleged true hauntings. But today I'm going to be talking to you about the Fiend of the Fens, the horror of East Anglia, a little piece of British folklore known as the Black Shuck. If you've ever found yourself online looking at scary stories, as I often do, you may have come across stories about dogs, hellhounds, demon dogs. It's likely that you've heard of the Black Shuck because this is in fact the OG hellhound, if you will. It predates all of Christian belief and it's actually got its roots in paganism.
What?
Depending on who you ask, the Black Shuck name originates from one of two places. The first is skooka, which is an ancient English word that refers to fiends and demons, creatures of that nature. It's really negative association. However, if you speak to someone from East Anglia, there is a word, and that word is shucky. Now, shucky refers to something that's hairy, scraggly, furry, so it would kind of make sense, right? The Black Shuck, this big, horrendous hellhound. Regardless of where the name came from, the main thing to keep in mind is actually this story has deep roots in pagan ideology. You see, the Black Shuck in itself is a spirit animal, right? It's like a mythical creature, a cryptid, whatever, but people see this as a demon. So it's kind of on that spiritual side of things. The idea of sort of spiritual animals, especially dogs and wolves and hounds, were very, very commonplace in pagan beliefs. However, in pagan beliefs, these were seen as positive omens, omens of good. They would guide people from this life into the next. And they were actually very well respected and seen as this hugely sacred thing. Because even the Vikings, who, they kind of invaded those lands and set up settlements all along East Anglia, they too had these powerful notions of spirit animals and spirit guardians, and a lot of those were wolves and hounds and dogs. So it's only when Christianity took over the dominant ideology of this sort of land is when we saw the shift from these spiritual and good creatures to these demonic evil creatures, and this is where the Black Shuck comes into play. A lot of people believe, much like Christmas was once the winter solstice, that Christianity took over pagan beliefs and sort of interpreted them and changed them to better suit their needs, and in terms of needs I mean the stories that they wanted to tell. And I believe that's where this story comes from. I think it's some really awesome amalgamation of ancient beliefs merged together, becoming something completely twisted and utterly terrifying. Because once Christianity entered the game, the Black Shuck became a monster. The date that brought the Black Shuck from local folklore to full-blown legend was the 4th of August, 1577. A violent storm rolled over Suffolk, and according to locals at the time, a great beast was seen in the sky. Pitch black fur, growling, shimmering teeth, and glowing red eyes. Now legend has it that this beast travelled down from the sky and into a church as it burst through the doors into this blood-filled rampage, and after that it moved to another church and did the same, leaving nothing but corpses and destruction in its wake. And as it left, it climbed up the north door of the church and left 2 scorch marks. And it's referred to by the locals as the devil's fingerprints. Now this was a real historical event, not necessarily the Black Shuck coming down from the heavens and murdering 2 church loads of people, but the discovery of the bodies, that happened. And in fact it was all written down by Reverend Abraham Fleming, who wrote a pamphlet about the whole event called A Strange and Terrible Wonder. Now obviously a reverend during this time writing a pamphlet probably did embellish a couple of things. A long time ago, towns and villages were plundered quite regularly. A lot of the valuable stuff was in the church, so it isn't wild to think that maybe these 2 churches were raided by some kind of invading force or bandits or highwaymen or whatever, and unfortunately the people who were inside at the time were just in the way. Let's just for a moment consider the devil's fingerprints, because they can still be seen today. And what's worth noting is that in every iteration of this story, there is always a thunderstorm. That never changes. So, what if these fingerprints are actually a result of lightning striking the church? Folklore has a practical purpose. It's why I love it so much. It often is a message hidden within a story, you know? If you're a parent and you want to tell your kids, you know, keep away from dangerous rivers, what is more effective? Don't go near that river or you'll fall in, or Jenny Greenfingers, the monstrous hag, will drag you underground and keep you there forever until your last breath is drawn. I'd be like, I'm good. I'm never going in the river, ever. Same for Black Shuck, you know. You stay off the moors at night, because if you don't, a big spectral hound with red eyes will come and tear you limb from limb. I'd be like, alright, I'm not going on the moor at night. But then again, I'm a coward. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked today's video, please go ahead and hit like. And if you want to see more, go ahead and click subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you've ever heard a story like the Black Shuck from your local area. Until next time, see ya.